Good morning, class. Welcome back. This video is going to be about attaching the first side of the waistband to the waist of your skirt. Hopefully these two pieces look familiar. I've got your skirt here and the waistband here. The first thing you need to do on this step is to find the center point of this waistline, and additionally find the center point of your waistband. We'll do each of those steps right now. We'll do the waistband after we do the skirt part. So set your waistband to the side, get a pencil, and what you'll do is you'll take your skirt. This is again the waistband edge, the waist edge. The hem is over that way. And you will fold your skirt in half, as I've already done here. Take note, this is the side. I've folded everything towards this side of the skirt so that I'm laying the right sides together. The outside of my skirt is being laid together, right sides together, this being the inside or the wrong side. This is the side of the fabric that you should have been making all your marks on, and the sides of your skirt should be turned this direction, and the hem of your skirt additionally should be turned this direction, folded in to the inside. So lay your skirt out flat, or fold it in half, lay it out flat, right sides together, and I want you to line up this waistband edge. See how I'm kind of scooting it, trying to, a little bit at least, with my fingers, so that this curve is, both layers are laid up perfectly nicely. And if you've got this edge lined up, as I'm doing here, right? So we've got edge to edge perfectly lined up. You've got your waistline lined up pretty well. If this is lined up and you've got this is your middle point. So you want to mark that. What I like to do is press it a little bit with my fingers, just so there's a little tiny visible crease there. And you can see when I pick it up and open it up, there's a little crease I was talking about. That's the center point of the waist of my skirt. So I want to mark that. Take a pencil and just draw yourself a mark where that crease is. Doesn't have to be big, just so you know, because you're gonna match this center point up to the center point of your waistband. Now let's do the same thing with the waistband. Set your skirt to the side, get your waistband out. This long old waistband. And what you'll do here is the same thing. I'm going to take the ends of your waistband and lay them together. When they're matched up like that, then you will keep those ends together, and you're basically folding your waistband in half long ways to find out where the center point of it is. And if you've done it right, you'll have this end, which is folded, is the center point of your waistband. Now what you'll need to do is mark this as well. So again, I give it a little pinch. I've got a little crease in it. I don't know if that's showing up because of the sunlight. There we go. See my crease there? Open this up and make a mark on one side. Now when you open it up, it'll look familiar. It should look like this when you've opened it up. And you want to make a mark inside one of these folds. I'm going to choose this one. See, there's my crease right there. And you make a mark. Now that is the center of your waistband. This notch will match up with the notch on your skirt that you just marked when you pin these together. We're going to match that notch and that notch. How do we do that? Like this. You take some pins and you pin it together. Let me grab some pins and I'll show you how. All right, so it might help if you lay your skirt out a little bit. Get your waistband situated. Okay, so remember I put my mark on the inside of my skirt, and I want to, when I pin this together, I want right sides together. So this mark is on the inside of my waistband and on the inside of my skirt. So I need to pin this to the outside of my skirt. I can do that easily by flipping it over. Make sure you're working on the outside of the skirt. To do that, you should not see the fold. Remember, that's the inside with the fold. It should be smooth on the outside. So you take your skirt. There's my mark there. Find the center of your waistband. There it is. And I want you to match up the cut edge of your waistband with the cut edge of the skirt waist. See, you lay it just like that. So they're even, and you line up your notches. Mine's a little bit off. Here's a way you can tell where your notches are lined up. If you pin through right here on your waist notch, you should see where it lines up. Oh, I'm a little off from my inside of my skirt waist, so I need to scoot over about 1/8 of an inch. And once you get those lined up, let's try again. Much closer. All right, so I've got my notches lined up. And what I want to do, again, is make sure the edges of my fabric are also lined up. And I want to pin right there. And you'll keep your waistband laid open like that. And what we do on this process is you pin all the way down until you've pinned to the edge of your skirt. I'll show you. So you keep laying your edge of your cut waistband to the edge of the skirt waist here and pinning. You're going to want to pin every couple or 3 inches or so. The tricky part is, and the reason you want to pin a little more frequently, because this is a constant curve and this is straight. So you're constantly having to make these fit one another. The more frequently you pin, the more control you will have over pinning this straight line to this curve. But you always just want to make sure your edges are lined up, the edge of your waistband piece and the edge of your skirt waist piece. I'm still pinning out to the end. Again, you might notice my waistband has this strange part. I had to use more pieces to make my waistband than y'all did. Y'all won't have this ugliness right here, so don't worry. Now here I've made it all the way out to the end of my piece of skirt on this side. And the last thing I'm gonna do is lay that right there, matching up my edges, and I'm gonna put one little last pin right on the edge of where my skirt ends. So now I have attached my waistband to half of my skirt. I've gone from the center out to this edge. And you can look at that and see how I've done that. The last step in this is to take it over, well, You will also do the same thing for this other side, this other half. Take that all the way down to the other end of your skirt. And once you're done, you've got to sew this. To do that, you'll take it to the machine, and you see this fold, this crease, this little ditch. That is going to be the line on which you sew. And we'll do that over the machine in just a second. Okay, here we are at the sewing machine. And now we're about ready to sew this waistband to this skirt. Remember, you should have this pinned to right sides together. And it should be pinned from one end of the skirt all the way to the other end of the skirt. And what we're gonna do is place this bad boy under the presser foot and sew. And I want you to sew in this little fold. This is the line you're gonna follow all the way down. And you're gonna start right at the edge of your skirt. And you're gonna backstitch on this end, and you're gonna backstitch at the other end when you're finished. So let's just do that. Drop my presser foot, lower my needle and check to make sure I'm lined up real good with that ditch. And I believe I am. Looks like it. All right. Let's sew. Backstitch, make sure it's gonna hold nicely. And then just follow this little ditch. Be as accurate as possible. You'll have to adjust your skirt some as you go. Again, I've said it before, don't let this project bully you. Don't let this skirt pull itself around. My left hand is in a little bit of an odd place because I'm having to reach around the camera as I do this. Normally it would be like right here, but I'm kind of having to go up here right now. It's all for y'all. The things I do. What a sacrifice, huh? If you want to, if you're having trouble seeing that fold to follow it, you can draw a line in it if you'd like, if that makes your life easier. As you move your skirt, make sure there are no tucks or folds on the underneath side. You want this to sew together as smoothly as possible. Getting close to the end. This is my last pin here. It's the edge of my skirt, see? So when I get to this edge, I'm gonna backstitch because we're done. And that's that. I've sewn that waistband, one side of that waistband on. You should be able to look and see that it is joined completely. Now there's one last step that I'll meet you for at the iron. You just want to take all your pins out and press this up. It's real quick and easy though. All right, this is the very last step of attaching the first side of this waistband. What you'll see here is this big messy pile of skirt. This is my waistband where I attached it. There's the inside of it. And I've got a pressing ham. And all you need to do for this part is pretty simple. You will just take your ham, lay it on the table, and come to the first side of your skirt where you started, and you will lay out a little bit of your waistband. In fact, if you turn your hand this way, it might be even easier. And you can just do this part real quick. It's not a lot of heavy ironing. So you get it laid on the ham, and we're using the ham again because this line is curved, and if you lay it on this curved surface, it makes everything lay flat. See how nice that is? If I tried to lay it flat on the table, see how bunchy and strange it kind of is. Lay it on your ham. Lay things out nicely. And the trick to this is you're pressing this seam right here. You don't want to press out any of the folds that you spent so long pressing in earlier. So it's just a quick little hit with the iron. Just a quick little, just to make it remember. And you slide it down a little more. And do the same thing. See how I'm getting that crease pressed, that seam pressed, but I'm also not losing these creases. You don't want to lose those creases. You worked really hard to put them in. I know. I watched you all. So you'll just continue this process until you've pressed all the way across the waistband. Take a little second to make sure it's laid nice and flat, because the other thing with the iron, you can press wrinkles into something unintentionally. We don't want that. So make sure it's laid nice and flat. The other thing I would tell you, don't iron all up here. Just iron right here. Right here. You don't need to sit your whole iron up here. If you come from this direction and kind of, you'll be in great shape. So do that all the way across. Here's one thing. Make sure your seam allowance is flipped up towards your waistband. You can see through my fabric to see that. See how my seam allowance is this way as opposed to that way? You see that? You want to have it up towards the waistband. Y'all don't have the benefit of seeing through your fabric, but you should be able to tell and feel. So make sure you're doing that too. And that's the last step to pressing this. So when you get done working all the way across, you're done with this step.